Seattle 2. Seattle is one of the most beautiful cities in the United States. Emerald, Royal, Gateway to Alaska, Rain City, Jet City. The metropolis in the northwest of the country is called by many names. And then, poetically, it is added that the city resembles the American Rome because it is situated on 7 hills. In Seattle, unique natural resources are wonderfully combined. The ocean, mountains, forests, lakes, and flatland. Here, the past coexists harmoniously with the present. And the landscapes, architectural perfection, and informative excursions always attract tourists. We are headed to a city that will captivate anyone who wants to immerse themselves in the true urban charm of the USA. They say that anyone who has visited at least one city in the United States has been to all the cities in this country. The vast majority of metropolises are almost the same. Straight squares of private houses among which high-rise buildings rise. You can't agree with this, if only because Seattle is completely different. It's a city on the water. The picturesque Puget Sound connects it to the Pacific Ocean. Even the rain in Seattle is not like anywhere else. No one calls it bad weather here because it only accentuates the emerald beauty of the city. This beauty is enhanced by the blue lakes and fountains, which makes Seattle look surprisingly light and crystal-like. One of the fountains is located in downtown Seattle, almost next to the Space Needle Tower, and is called the International Fountain. It's a favorite resting place for city residents, and there are always many tourists here. The fountain is known for its musical accompaniment, creating an additional pleasant atmosphere around it. It resembles a percussion musical instrument called a hang, consisting of 2 connected metal hemispheres. The International Fountain hides a surprise. No one guesses what the next melody will be, when, and what pattern the water will form. The vast majority of visitors patiently wait for the musical composition performed by the band Nirvana. That's when the fountain shoots water up to 10 meters, like an Icelandic geyser. In sunny weather during the summer, the International Fountain turns into continuous entertainment for children. In its large basin, you can frolic and have fun with streams of water to your heart's content. Which exactly children do with pleasure. For children on a sunny day, the fountain turns into a large playground. Around the fountain are spacious green lawns for relaxation, where you can have a picnic. Visiting the fountain and the surrounding area is free, which is certainly very attractive. If you're in Seattle, be sure to come here to enjoy the water's beauty. Coming in the evening, you can see how the fountain is brightly illuminated by colorful spotlights. It looks gorgeous. Indeed, there is one drawback. There's a good chance you might get caught in a sudden burst of water. However, can we really call that a misfortune? No, quite the opposite. Adults often play with the fountain water just as well as children. If you're not one of them, then watch how others do it. Meanwhile, we'll tell you about the author of this wonderful idea. The International Fountain was designed by Japanese architects Matsushita and Shimizu for the 1961 World's Fair in Seattle. A year before its opening, a design competition was announced for creating a fountain composition with light, water, and sculpture. The Tokyo architects confidently won, or rather, youth won. Matsushita was 29 at the time, and Shimizu was 26. Neither of them had experience or fame, but they had talent and a strong desire to realize it. The idea of the young architects turned out to be timely. The space era was beginning. The fountain composition recreated the international desire of peoples to explore the farthest corners of the universe. The parabolic shapes of the water jets were meant to symbolize the movement of spacecraft. The nearby Space Needle Tower organically complemented the concept of the Japanese architects. Over time, the fountain required technical improvements. After the reconstruction in 1995, a new basin with a diameter of 220 feet was installed. Previously, it was surrounded by irregularly shaped white rocks to recreate a lunar landscape, which prevented visitors from interacting with the water. During the reconstruction, the rocks were removed and additional sized nodules for swift water were created on the dome, allowing visitors to approach for fountain play. Now the total water content is 9,000 gallons, and the water jets are controlled remotely. 274 active nozzles create an unforgettable aquatic extravaganza, while the misty effect is provided by openings slightly larger than a sewing needle's eye. The International Fountain is a very pleasant place to relax in Seattle. Settling on one of the adjacent lawns, you can endlessly watch the water dance in the fountain. Another tourist pleasure will be a walk through Myrtle Edwards Park, located along Elliott Bay. In the 2-acre park lies a real nature production collection of Seattle. The walk should start from the north part of the park, where the grain terminal is located. The giant assembly set is connected to the cargo pier and railway, which once transported American grain across the Pacific Ocean. Some may be skeptical about such a park landscape, but we advise not to rush to conclusions. The unobstructive sculptural combination of former industrial objects with nature harmonizes beautifully in the adjacent Gasworks Park, although there were plenty of opponents of its landscape design solution. Originally, the park we are currently in was called Elliott Bay Park, but it was renamed after Myrtle Edwards, a member of the Seattle City Council. Transforming the former industrial zone along Elliott Bay into a park with a magnificent view of Puget Sound was this woman's dream. Thanks to her efforts and perseverance, the devastated and polluted industrial areas were reclaimed to create a beautiful platform for urban art and nature. Throughout her life, Myrtle Edwards advocated for the preference of greenery over high-rise buildings and fought to make them an integral part of the city. she always supported aesthetic landscaping and naturalization of former industrial territories. Now the stretch along Elliott Bay is exactly the park that Myrtle Edwards would have liked. Two walking paths pass through it. Along one, you can leisurely walk, and parallel to the railway, another one is arranged for cyclists and those who enjoy recreational running. In the conditions of a large metropolis, this is an ideal solution. The trail is paved and does not create obstacles for people in wheelchairs. The waves of Elliott Bay will literally be just a few steps away. A special pleasure in the park is to sit quietly on the grassy lawn and admire the fantastic landscapes of the Olympic Mountains, Puget Sound, listening to the horns of ships, seagulls, and the excitement of the surf. In the north part of Myrtle Edwards Park, you will find a sculpture with the unusual name Adjacent, Opposite, Near, created by Michael Heitzer, an American landscape artist specializing in land art and reinterpreting sculpture in terms of size, mass, gesture, and process. The arrangement features concrete platforms adorned with 3 imposing granite boulders, strategically placed in both opposing and adjacent positions. These boulders, hewn from the majestic Olympic Mountains, were transported by barges directly to the park's shoreline. The sculptural composition's aesthetic impact, as envisioned by the artist, lies in its contemplation of our relationship with nature and its ever-evolving human-influenced environment. Should you find yourself here, take a moment to cultivate your impressions of the scene. As you leisurely make your way back, take a stroll through the park's enchanting rose garden. The rose garden in a bustling city always evokes positive emotions at first sight, without the need for excessive aesthetic interpretation. Take a seat on one of the park's numerous benches amidst the scent of roses and observe as the waves roll in from the marvelous Puget Sound. Your mood will instantly improve. In Myrtle Edwards Park, you'll find a quaint, sandy beach. It's perfect for a leisurely stroll or even a refreshing swim if the water isn't too brisk for your liking. On a balmy summer day, you can also catch some rays. Just remember to bring along your swimsuit and towel. While food and drinks aren't yet available in the park, it's wise to pack a lunch ahead of time. You'll work up quite an appetite in the fresh sea breeze. Time flies by on the beach, and evening sneaks up on you before you know it. Don't be too hasty to leave at the first sign of dusk. Take a moment to witness the sun dipping below the horizon. The evening sky, painted with the last rays of daylight, will elevate your experience and offer genuine aesthetic delight. Just like any bustling metropolis, Seattle boasts its own iconic thoroughfare. If you truly want to immerse yourself in the essence of the city as a tourist, setting aside a leisurely day to explore such a street is essential. While guided tours offer insight, nothing compares to the rich tapestry of experiences that unfold through independent exploration. First Avenue reigns as Seattle's primary thoroughfare. This historic street cuts through the heart of the city, weaving its way from Pioneer Square to Belltown, and extending into adjacent neighborhoods like Soto and Queen Anne. Along its vibrant stretch, you'll encounter over 20 distinguished landmarks, including parks, squares, museums, and storied edifices. The charming low-rise brick buildings, steeped in the city's architectural legacy, add to the avenue's allure and beckon exploration. It was in these buildings that the first participants of the gold rush stayed, heading to Alaska in search of fortune. A major fire in Seattle in 1889 destroyed a significant portion of First Avenue, as it was entirely made of wood. Its reconstruction was carried out exclusively using fire-resistant materials. As you stroll along the street today, you'll see sculptures of firefighters whose operations were fundamentally changed after the Great Fire. The main street of Seattle is always bustling with people. Passerbys along First Avenue are very friendly and will offer a sincere smile when they see you with a video camera. Meanwhile, police officers on bicycles carry out their duties as expected, professionally and discreetly. It's sure to captivate the attention of tourists exploring downtown Seattle. This is one of the most interesting buildings in the neighborhood, bounded by 4th and 5th Avenues and Madison and Spring Streets. It was designed by the renowned Dutch architect, Rembrandt Koolhaas. The monumental structure of steel and glass rises 184 feet high, equivalent to 11 stories, and has a very unusual shape. Its walls consist of sloping planes, with few straight angles in the design. The library looks impressive. It comprises several floating platforms, seemingly enveloped by a large steel mesh around a glass shell. Inside is even more fascinating. The library features a non-traditional book storage system, and a large part of the facility is devoted directly to readers. It is truly a modern, multicultural center. The reading rooms are spacious areas illuminated through the sloping glass roof. Everything about it resembles anything but a traditional library. The whimsical storage houses 2.5 million print publications. Additionally, the library boasts extremely powerful online resources, providing access to historical archives, streaming videos, and ebooks. Since 2004, the library has been offering organized architectural tours. We highly recommend joining one. Along Lenora Street, between 6th and 7th Avenues, you can't miss another unique marvel, the Amazon Spheres. These 3 spherical conservatories resemble fused soap bubbles, truly enhancing the cityscape. Seattle residents affectionately call them Bezos's balls, as Jeff Bezos heads Amazon. The largest central glass sphere boasts a diameter of about 128 feet and a height of approximately 88.5 feet. But they're not just an innovative sculptural composition. They serve as a relaxation spot for the company's employees. A multi-story indoor botanical garden housing around 40,000 plants. The largest of the 5 trees stands at about 56 feet tall and weighs over 35,000 pounds. It was transported from Southern California and even has its name, Ruby. According to some reports, the construction of the original building cost Amazon around $4 billion. While public access to the glass conservatories is currently restricted, guided tours of Amazon's headquarters and its exhibition pavilion on the 1st floor are organized once a week. If Italians claim that all roads lead to Rome, then it's fair to say that all roads in Seattle lead to Pike Place Market, the oldest market on the continent. Otherwise, how can one explain the phenomenon that strolling in Seattle often leads right to the market, even when heading in the opposite direction? It seems we're not the only ones with such experiences. Indeed, a considerable number of tourists flock here to indulge in tasty treats and find interesting souvenirs or gifts. Like any wise sage, Seattle's oldest market holds its own special secrets for every curious traveler. The neon sign, Public Market Center, marks the official name of the market, while the clock with bright red hands was installed here as far back as 1937. The sidewalk leading to the market entrance is adorned with metal imprints of pig hooves. This isn't just by chance. Rachel, the market pig, a symbol of Pike Place Market, and the largest piggy bank in the entire state of Washington, has been its guardian since 1886. Over the past 30 years alone, Rachel has enabled the charitable organization Pike Place Market Foundation to raise over $200,000 to support social projects, aiding retirees and low-income families. While you're by Rachel's side, don't hold back. Then take a stroll through the market and treat yourself to culinary delights. The tidy stalls inevitably entice visitors to make purchases. The market has everything. Absolutely everything. And while you're buying cheese, bread, pastries, fruits, vegetables, flowers, and odds and ends, keep this in mind. the fishmongers at Pike Place Market put on an original show called Flying Fish. It's truly something incredible. They've devised an amusing spectacle to leave a lasting impression on customers and attract tourists. The Flying Fish Show has become popular across America. The concept is simple. The vendors toss fish to each other across the counter, accompanied by jokes and merry laughter. A large fish flies through the air, flapping its fins and tail. In essence, the vendors entertain as best as they can, and in doing so, they greatly amuse the shoppers, who often join in the fishmongers' antics. However, no one takes offense. On the contrary, everyone here is happy. The boat station Don Armeni is situated on Harbor Avenue and Maryland Street, just south of Duwamish Head, and stands out as the most popular of the boat launches in Seattle. Its proximity to many beloved fishing spots makes it a hotspot among anglers during salmon season. However, what truly attracts visitors to Don Armeni is the unparalleled view it offers. From the observation deck of the boat station, you'll be treated to a panoramic vista of Puget Sound, from Bainbridge Island and the Olympic Mountains across Elliott Bay to the heart of Seattle. The city's waterfront looks stunning from this vantage point, making Don Armeni a highly sought-after destination. It's worth noting the origin story of this beloved boat station, which was established entirely through the initiative of Seattle residents, particularly driven by fishing enthusiasts. This boat launch at the end of Maryland Street was established in the 1950s. It was named in honor of a sheriff's deputy who tragically lost his life in the line of duty, Don Armeni. He was not only an avid fisherman, but also actively involved in youth sports clubs, athletic organizations, teen Olympic Games, and supported youth sports development in every possible way. The Don Armeni observation deck features 2 functional docks. It serves as an excellent spot for watching boats, yachts, and cruise ferries pass through the Port of Seattle. Many tourists and professional photographers flock here, as the surrounding beauty truly deserves attention. On sunny days and weekends, many Seattle locals come here with their families to enjoy some leisure time. Picnic tables and barbecue facilities are available, along with other amenities in the park areas on both sides of the deck. When standing on the Don Armeni Ramp, it's hard not to gaze dreamily at sailboats and large cruise ships passing by. The heart of Seattle's waterfront is the main port, with its 9 historic piers, built in the late 18th century to serve the railroads during the Alaskan Gold Rush. Nowadays, the ferry fleet serves as public transportation. Ferry trips around the Sound are available on weekdays, holidays, and weekends, providing easy access to any of the islands formed by the channels of Puget Sound. Boat trips are a favorite among tourists. For instance, you can venture to Bainbridge Island and return to the city on the same day. Purchasing a ferry ticket in Seattle is simple. Just head to the terminal near the pier. Cruise Terminal Pier 66 of the Port of Seattle is where nearly all fantastic journeys begin. Even the wait for the gangway is enjoyable, with plenty of shops, the Great Wheel, an aquarium. Nearby restaurants offer seafood, local drinks, and of course, coffee. Speaking of which, coffee in Seattle is more than just a drink. Nowhere else in the U.S. will you find more cafes per capita than here. Locals take great pride in tourists flocking to the waterfront, where the first Starbucks coffee shop opened. It's still operational today. Hundreds of coffee enthusiasts patiently wait in line to purchase their aromatic beverage here. If you're also a fan of genuine coffee, we recommend spending some time in this pleasant queue. It's worth it. Did English teacher Jerry Baldwin, history teacher Zev Siegel, and writer Gordon Bowker know in 1971 that the coffee shops they opened in Seattle would become a business empire in the future? Probably not. In general, the Port of Seattle boasts 2 robust cruise terminals, one in the city center and the other northwest of downtown. From here, you can embark on routes to the West Coast, Hawaii, Asia, and the Panama Canal from April to October. At the appointed time, a huge ship awaits you at the dock. The choice of route is entirely up to you. For instance, high-speed passenger ferries like the Victoria Clipper sail to the Canadian city of Victoria and the San Juan Islands. Additionally, the company organizes group tours, which can be booked through their website. Victoria Clipper ferries operate daily between Seattle and Canadian Victoria up to 6 times a day. The round-trip ticket costs $147 for adults and $73 for children. You'll also enjoy a cruise tour on a tall sailing ship in Elliott Bay itself. The boat crews are experienced and friendly, gladly accepting your help to raise the sails. How else could it be? Everyone on board is one team. If you have rowing experience or skilled at sailing, you can navigate Elliott Bay under your own sail. It's worth mentioning that there are many sailing enthusiasts among Seattle residents. Moreover, the city boasts dozens of diverse yacht clubs. Today, sailing is quite a popular pastime in the United States and beyond. If you have the opportunity to learn this prestigious maritime skill and obtain a boat handling certificate, it only takes a few months. With a document confirming your knowledge and skills, you can rent a yacht from one of the clubs and confidently set sail on a maritime adventure. Just remember to invite your friends for a breezy water excursion. No special documents are needed to rent a regular sailboat. It's enough that you know how to handle it. The Don Armeni Boat Ramp is protected from the large waves of Puget Sound, so you won't have any trouble catching the wind. In just a minute, incredible urban views of Seattle, the Olympic mountain range, Mount Rainier, and part of the Cascade Range will unfold before you. Apparently, Don Armeni is part of the true soul of Seattle. It is here, from the shore of the Oceanic Inlet, practically on the border of the USA, that one especially feels the northern tranquility of this beautiful city. Its century-old connection to maritime craftsmanship, and its beautiful seclusion amidst snow-capped mountain peaks. Seattle is the gateway to Alaska, the doorway to another world, somewhere far away to the boundless northern expanses. The waves soothe, and for a moment, you forget that behind you roars the life of a big city in the northwest of America. And only the sudden blast of a ship's horn will bring you back to Seattle. And now we're heading to Bellevue Viewpoint Park, located in the western part of Seattle. It's a well-known viewpoint where practically all tourists admire the picturesque view of Elliott Bay and downtown Seattle. It's not surprising at all, since some of the best photographs for tourist guides, brochures, various posters, and postcards were taken here. The spatial harmony of the city against the backdrop of Elliott Bay has never needed additional embellishments. Skyscrapers accentuate smaller buildings without appearing bulky. The facade colors of downtown Seattle buildings are pleasing to the eye and delight with their understated attractiveness. Modern metropolises often stand out for their excessive architectural dimensions, and their height can be overtly overwhelming. Seattle, however, doesn't fit that description. For instance, the Columbia Center, a 76-story building, is the tallest in Seattle. But from Bellevue Park, it doesn't distort the city's skyline. Its height is quite impressive, approximately 931 feet. This is because the building structure consists of 3 concave facades with 2 setbacks. Thus, the skyscraper appears as 3 towers standing side by side. Moreover, the base of the building is clad in carnelian granite, which retains its natural color, even in overcast weather. Take a closer look. You'll see the Columbia Center with its sparkling Rosa Perino granite. This sparkle reflects the mirror-like waters of Elliott Bay, adorning it with a silvery shimmer. Talented and persistent architect Chester Lindsay spent considerable effort in 1982 to push through the construction project for the Columbia Center, as land use rules restricted skyscraper construction to 50 stories. And now, on sunny days, the skyscraper glitters in the mirrored waters of Elliott Bay, enhancing its extraordinary charm. Seattle is truly so stunning and diverse that when you see photos or videos, it's hard to believe that they were all captured in one city. And how many wonderful stories have you heard from guides? Everything impressed and stayed in memory. However, the sunset behind the Olympic Mountains and the unparalleled horizon of the Emerald City are what stick in your mind the most. The first twilight makes it unforgettable. If you haven't had the chance to witness Seattle at night in all of its glory, then consider taking a tour of the popular viewpoints. Local tourist agencies offer plenty of options for exploring the city at night. Just make sure that the companies and guides are certified. You can also ask the staff at your hotel reception for advice and recommendations. Organized night tours have many advantages. In 3 hours, you'll learn things not written in guidebooks. And all of this in the glow of the city's nighttime lights. The waterfront, the Space Needle, downtown, the Great Wheel, Olympic Park, the International Fountain, Pioneer Square, Pike Place Market. However, most tourists prefer to take a stroll through nighttime Seattle on their own. Well, there are advantages to that. But in that case, remember that you're not at home and should consider your personal safety. Generally, if tourists observe basic behavioral rules, a night out in Seattle will be filled with new experiences rather than unpleasant incidents. Compared to many cities in the USA, Seattle is considered safe. In the city center, where the main historical and architectural attractions are located, you can walk around day and night without excessive precautions. But to avoid possible troubles, always be vigilant. During travels, tourists often carry more belongings, cash, and valuables than they do at home. After an emotionally charged journey through Seattle, filled with new impressions and stops for photo sessions, it's advisable to never lose your head. Prudence has never harmed anyone. And then, nighttime Seattle will be nothing short of beautiful. Apparently, everyone who has seen it struggled to find words that could convey its incredible beauty. The city is among the brightest in the world. Several years ago, British ophthalmologists, Feel-Good Contacts, researched the level of nighttime illumination on the largest cities of many countries. Riyadh in Saudi Arabia was recognized as the brightest city due to the large number of street lamps, illuminations, grand office building lighting, and annual light festivals. Washington came in second, with its nighttime illumination provided by 75,000 street lamps. Moscow and London came in third and fourth. The Argentine Buenos Aires took fifth place. It seems that British scientists haven't seen nighttime Seattle, which sparkles with thousands of lights on skyscrapers, and haven't seen streets flooded with colorful light. It creates an amazing color palette and expands the space, adding energy to it as it reflects in the waters of Elliott Bay. Looking at the city drowning in the lights of the night, Your first impressions of it will remind you more of cozy Europe than the United States. And only the symbol of the city, the gleaming Space Needle, reminds you that you are in Seattle, illumined and beautiful. It will stop you no matter where in the city you are. For each of us, it's very useful to stop for at least a moment amidst the modern life roads and find a place where it's easy to breathe, live, and dream. We hope that Seattle will become such a place for you, hospitable and beautiful, and painfully pleasant with its eternal emerald colors.